Well, it looks like Spain is going after the entire adult entertainment industry. Now, what does that engulf? Prostitution, pornography, magazines, and much, much more. You see the censorship that's been going on for quite some time now. We have a new story from France, an update from France that's coming up this week. Some of it's good news out of France. But you have situations from France, Germany, Australia, Russia, even here in the United States, that we're dealing with censorship of product, whether it's adult, whether it's anime, or certain content, or certain things, you know. And you look at how these people are trying to sneak this stuff in. This is the Puritans all over again, that they're trying to stop. And the thing about it is, these are the same people who want to reduce the age of consent in these countries. That basically they've already got, some of them got them down to 16 and 15 and 14, depending on where you go in the world. And they just want to continue to reduce it. You know, France, that's where Cuties came from, Mignonas. That is the most disgusting movie ever made. And it should made, and I'm still asking today, where are the audition tapes? Where are they all now? Have they been erased? I don't think so. They're probably on some dark web right now, being passed around. But in Madrid right now, I'm going to read into this. Spanish politicians try to outlaw consensual sex work, including porn. Spanish sex workers and the adult industry figures are sounding the alarm about a new proposed law supported by politicians from both ruling and opposition parties aiming to outlaw all forms of paid sex work, including commercial pornography. Last week, the ruling Spanish Socialist Workers' Party, known as the PSOE, introduced a proposal for an abolished law against sexual exploitation, something that has been included in the party's platform. But the draft includes a new section, 187, which explicitly outlaws audiovisual productions, magazines, or internet content deemed pornographic, El Español newspaper said yesterday. Prominent politicians within the PSOE, which took up power in 2019 after several years of conservative rule under the Partido Popular, have taken up the abolish of sex work as their personal cause. These include the party's General Vice Secretary, Adriana Lastral, who last month took to the press to promote a change in the Spanish Penal Code to mandate up to 3 years in jail for anyone paying for sex. Lastral framed the effort as an attempt to reach out to the right and say she hoped both Conservatives PP and the left-wing minority alliance, Unidas Podemos, would vote for it. The proposed legislation would revive the crimes of proxenetism, meaning pimping or pandering, and terra locative or brothering keeping. Both were removed from the penal code in 1995 by a previous socialist administration. The language used by the PSOE exclusively uses the Spanish feminine prostituta, which is both stigmatizing and criminalizing, and also essentializes sex work as a female occupation. The law also conflates legal minors with much, you always have to bring this up, with much vaguer persons in situation of vulnerability, which could be deployed by authorities to apply whoever they wish. Noted Swedish-Spanish adult filmmaker, producer, and studio owner Erica Lust took to Twitter today sounding the alarm about the impending government attempt to ban all sex work, including adult performance. The International Sex Workers Day, I want to take the opportunity to express my unconditional support to all sex performance currently based in Spain, where the government is once again threatening their safety with prohibition bills to claim to protect their rights, Lust tweeted. Nothing that the PSOE proposed reforms calls for the abolition of all forms of making profit from the prostitution of others, includes porn production, Lust warned that it would not matter whether the practice is carried out under exploitation, banned under the current law, or if the independent labor with consent from all parties are involved following ethical production standards. What is presented as an effort to stop exploitation and violence in defense of human rights is particularly in women's rights ends up to be the main source of violence precariously and the lack of protection for all sex workers who are already vulnerable as it is, the Barcelona-based feminist filmmaker continued. Now, you can go back and look at this on XBiz. On the rest of it, there's a lot more onto there. But the main crest of this, and they keep putting this into perspective, women are not the only sex workers. There are men who are in the business as well. And I always keep saying this. I keep saying this left and right. When it comes to women in the industry, that part of it is criticized more than the male part of the industry. Why is that? Why is that at all? Even in the transgender part of the industry and in the gay community itself on there, with the exception of lesbians. It's always the female side. They said, well, we have to protect the female. But that is a pure choice. And the thing is, they always say, oh, because of child pornography. Yes, there's child pornography out there, but this is not the way to stop it. There are many other ways that you could put money into it to find these sex offenders. Problem is, they have a lot of money. You got to fight back the best you can when it comes to the nature of the beast. By banning pornography, by banning prostitution, the one thing I've always said, prostitution will always be around, whether it's legal or not legal. The best thing to do is license it, make it legal. You get rid of some of the crime. You can't get rid of all the crime, but you can get rid of at least some of it, and you're able to balance out and find out where the true crime is, and you might be able to defeat some of it, what you can't get to in normal channels. But also, the other half of this are the liberals, the Puritans, those who just want to get rid of the adult industry in a whole. Pornography has been around since they've been able to etch stuff on cave drawings. That's how long it's been around. I mean, you can go and see that there are many old relics in museums that show, you look back to where in the Asia part of the world, there's been a lot of it there. Of Kama Sutra and many other situations. You look to Middle Europe, you look to many places throughout the world. And you see what has happened in the Mideast. You've seen what's happened in certain places in the world where they've already don't allow it, and what they do to people that are in it, in the punishments and things that they do. This is just another way to censor things. Today, it's the adult industry. Tomorrow, and it's happening. It's going to be anime and manga. After that, science fiction. After that, who knows, whatever, fiction novels. This is the thing about when you look at America at one point of view and say, oh, it's a bad place to live and stuff like that. Look at the freedoms we have. Look at the things we have here. Those are the things that are being banned in other countries. They want to take that away from people. You've seen the ban in Australia with figures and manga and anime. Russia has banned several of the top anime in the world, including like Death Note. And what do they blame on it? Because someone committed suicide. And not grasping at the main crust of the situation, that the person had something wrong. He was depressed or maybe had mental illness. They're going to chastise the device and not the person itself, and say, listen, this person needs help. But you're not giving them help. It's the same thing with the gun control here. They're going to blame the guns for things that people with emotional problems have. It ain't going to stop them at the guns. They're going to go to the knives. Yes, the UK. The UK, the mayor of London wanted to ban certain types of knives, certain types of axes, certain type of hammers, because basically that's what they're using. It doesn't stop anybody from committing a crime. To stop them, you got to grasp the situation on there. And the same thing with this. Censorship is not going to stop people from watching pornography. You could throw people in jail for 3 years and stuff like that. It's still going to happen. Just because a bunch of ladies, and it's mostly ladies and a couple of gentlemen, don't enjoy them, which they probably do privately, they don't want anybody else to have that situation. And the thing about it is, there are women out there making money off of this. There are women in the industry that do make money. Plain and simple. So we'll see what happens next with Spain. We got a French one coming up, so subscribe, like, share, and we'll see you on the next one.